And with the DNC Unity Commission soon to vote on structural changes within the Democratic Party, the two chairs, the chair and the co-chair, specifically, have come out to voice their support for changing the rules. Now, according to The Hill, Democratic National Committee Chairman Tom Perez and Representative Keith Ellison, the DNC Vice Chairman, on Thursday penned an op-ed for CNN endorsing changes to the Superdelegate system. Okay, changes to the Superdelegate system. Well, that's what we were looking for, right? We want reform, we want change, we want the DNC to be better before we can actually support them again. And I know there's a lot of you out there that say that I will never support the DNC, and I understand that position, because look, Bernie Sanders and supporters and progressives, we got burned bad. And so I can understand why there are people that will say, never again, I will never again support or trust the DNC. Again, that's a completely understandable position. And to be honest, look, I'm skeptical that there will be any change from the DNC Unity Reform Commission, despite the work of great people like Nomi Konst and others that are working to try to introduce change, and all the activists that are actually actively trying to change the DNC. Still skeptical, right? As I am. Now, I want to eliminate superdelegates, right? So let's see what they have to say in this op-ed and see if that's the direction that they're calling for. In the op-ed, Perez and Ellison asked the DNC's Unity Reform Commission, which is set to hold its final meeting in the weekend, to lay out changes aimed at healing party divisions, to endorse a significant reduction of the number of superdelegates who vote to decide the party's nominee for president. They said, in 2016, unpledged delegates, or what some call superdelegates, made up almost 15% of all delegates at the National Convention. To create a fair process for all candidates and empower grassroots voters, it is critical that the Unity Reform Commission provide recommendations that uphold the mandate passed by the 2016 Democratic National Convention and provide for a significant reduction in the number of unpledged delegates. The pair's call for a reduction in superdelegates comes hours just after 14 different progressive groups wrote a letter to Perez demanding a complete end to the superdelegate system. That, of course, is what I support. Eliminate it. Get rid of all the superdelegates. Now, I want to read you some of that letter because, look, I agree with it, and I'm sure you guys will too. They said, as Democrats seek to claim the mantle of economic populism from the Republican Party driving historically plutocratic policies, the role of superdelegates in selecting Democratic presidential nominees stands out as a conspicuously elite-driven process. Furthermore, the superdelegate system remains starkly unrepresentative. The superdelegate system also undermines the Democratic Party's commitment to racial and gender equity and underrepresents the younger voters, forming the future of the party. So, here's the thing, right? So, I love that letter because I couldn't sum it up any better. That's exactly what the superdelegate system does. And so, when you're calling for a significant reduction, in my opinion, that doesn't go far enough. Now, I know the Democratic Party, people like Tom Perez and the Hillary Clinton supporters, the Barack Obamas of the world, oh, they just love their incremental change, right? They love it. Oh, if we tweak it just a little bit, then we can call it historic change and, not rock the boat too much. No, but that's not what we need. What we need is more democracy. Right now, did you know this, guys? Republican Party in their primaries is now more small d Democratic than the Democratic Party. They don't do superdelegates. They actually allow their voters to make a choice. Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with their choices because they're horrendous and they don't actually represent American values. But the Democrats have set up this elite system where only the establishment wins. People who don't rock the boat, they're the ones who get superdelegate support. Again, you don't have that in the Republican Party. I mean, look, this comes from the Democrats' weird idea that we have to run to the center in every election. And the Republicans do that. Obviously, they didn't do it in this election. And enough people turned out to vote for President Donald freaking Trump. So that's what we ended up getting, right? From the Democrats running to the center. Didn't work out, did it? A quarter of the country went off the cliff and voted for Trump. And the other half, of course, of that quarter, a lot of them held their nose and voted for Hillary Clinton. But around half of all eligible voters, people who could have actually taken part in the process, they stayed home. Why? It's because they feel that they don't have a voice. And policies like having superdelegates is partly the reason why. And yet the country, on issues like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, a living wage, taxing the rich, they're progressive. And yet because of things like superdelegates, candidates who propose these positions that are incredibly popular are don't even have a chance to win. Look, and speaking of superdelegates, Howard Dean was one of them, right? Howard Dean is a superdelegate, and guess what? He defended the right to vote against the people. If Bernie Sanders, for example, won a state in this past election, and he did, he won a lot of states. If the superdelegate there decided, you know what, no, I already pledged myself to Hillary Clinton, I want to pledge myself to Hillary Clinton, which, by the way, was done at the actual convention, I don't have to. I can go and pledge myself against the will of my own voters in my own state to go to a candidate that's establishment. It's got to go. It's got to go. Now, they ended the op-ed by saying, quote, "We love our values and the support of the vast majority of the American people by our side. And when we lead with those values, we win." I'm sorry, but no. Those values include democracy, which must exist inside of a primary as well. And this goes just beyond the superdelegates, by the way. We also need to change all the primaries into open primaries so we can get independents in the process. Guess what? Independents outnumber both the Democrats and Republicans. We need more independents. We also need to introduce things like ranked choice voting and ensure that everybody has a voice in choosing who's to go up against the Republicans and ultimately serve as leader of the country. If the DNC is truly committed to winning back progressives and winning independents and actually growing the party into something bigger, into something that can actually win, then they can no longer take these kinds of half measures. We need strong, bold, progressive change if we're actually going to win. Now, I hope that when the DNC Unity Reform Commission votes, they go further than restricting the role of superdelegates. I hope they vote to eliminate them. I know that there's many on that Reform Council who do, or the Reform Commission who do want to eliminate superdelegates and do want to make it more small d democratic. We'll just have to see if the rest of them actually will truly embrace real change. It's a defining moment in the Democratic Party. Don't mess this up, or you're going to lose an entire generation.